That's what I gather. It's been,
Yeah.
up for discussion for a
Yeah.
while.
Uh, Charlotte used to ride down there with some of her friends, and they took a sort of shortcut where the washout is now. And that was probably 15 years ago. They've been,
So they've been monitoring the change over time.
and worried about it.
Yeah,
And, you know, because at the beginning, the town didn't want to do anything. Said, oh, John Reese, that's your problem. You better fix it.
yeah, I met him today and, he was telling me about,
Yeah.
it's been,
Poor guy.
a topic of discussion for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, one damn thing or another. He loves having this property, but it keeps messing him up. Hey, Seaver, how are you?
Oh, fine.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Emily's up visiting, so
Oh, great. Good. That-
leaving tomorrow, so.
uh,
Oh,
Oh, wait. Well, thank you for coming. All right, is Zoom set up that I have to, admit people?
It depends on what the setting is for your particular, account. The select board, yes.
Yeah.
But it's very obvious. You get a ding, you hear it.
Yeah.
What does it say? Set up professional audio on.
Yeah, it's telling something. Hi, Willow.
Yeah. Hey, well, it has not been a problem
Good.
with the select board because they're clear.
This is the second town that owns a copy of the Zoom.
Yeah, good. Somebody was meeting at town hall.
Yeah.
That's probably why it's here tonight. Is that right?
Oh,
Or?
partly, but it makes sense to be here because this is.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Hi, Jessica. I don't know. Is it, where would you like us to sit? Anywhere?
Wherever, I think it's fine.
We got lots of room. Yeah, Zoom is running. And if we don't have any customers, so much the better.
How are you?
Okay.
Good. I was thinking on the way over, when the day I came over here and met you the first time was the day after the first presidential debate. I was having this whole thing, like, this is so odd.
They're such rare occurrences. Two only.
Thanks for getting that. Oh, and I'm agreement signed.
Yeah, yeah.
Exciting.
It's written on that.
Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of angst about it, you know, we're signing up to
You have like.
even more work. It's,
written on
hopefully, we're gonna be able to contract
the
out.
white
you
label.
know, before-
Yes.
Andy, it's on the white label.
Yeah, I know. I know
Box
the
is
regional planning
white.
commission's been like, kind of coordinate some like inter-town reporters.
Yeah, that would be good.
It's one of the things they talked about. Yeah, Woodbury has done some stuff.
Oh.
And they went back to.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. We're not gonna buy those.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're very cool, but. God, this is Jessica from SLR
Hi.
Engineering.
Message
She's
from-
got passages on the ERB.
Nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you.
Are you Pam DeAndrea? Hollow London?
No, so I work as a consultant. I'm not working for the regional planning.
You're the engineer, yes.
I'm the engineer.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the RPC is coming. I think
I
they
kind
felt
of
like. we
assumed
could-
they would be here, but maybe not.
Yeah.
If we can
So
handle
we're
it.
still Pam should probably be here.
Oh, yeah. Guess I didn't.
But
know.
maybe Brian's gonna,
Zoom in.
maybe.
I am Dean.
Hi.
Do you have extra copies of the warning?
Yep.
Alright.
That's been going on. Couldn't do this, we were having to touch it, it's like that.
It's very straightforward, whatever I can tell.
They're running against 2.0.
Just through the edge.
Either one of them works. And it's the same password, but I can't remember. Too many characters. for me to
You know,
remember.
just like right at the edge of the road where it's kind of collapsed.
Probably
So
roll down, but
It's still right on the edge of the road.
Yeah, I said John Reese earlier, I thought he might be coming.
Oh, I see. I see.
I,
Even
so,
now.
Like that.
yes,
Huh?
usually DRB hearings have no people at all.
Pretty similar to this.
Oh, I know, but he really wants, because it's his land that's been getting gouged.
Oh, John probably will come, yeah,
Yeah, and I saw him earlier, so I assumed he came up to that day.
yeah.
I didn't see him. Well, it's.
It work for you? It may be my fingers.
Yeah.
I usually have to type it have to more than once.
Passwords are so 20th century. They're just unnecessary, ridiculous. There's so many other ways to validate. And I always mess them up.
Right.
I use a password vault, which makes a big difference.
Yeah,
I only have to remember.
Yeah. Your last pass to use that one?
I use Dashlane, which apparently isn't rated as highly as other ones now, but it's full
Works for you.
password, so. Which do you use?
Last pass. And, yeah, you just have to remember the one, but I'm completely dependent on it. You know,
Yes,
For some reason, I don't have parents.
it works though. Yeah. 2 minutes to go.
what happened to the clock?
The clock, oh my God,
I know. Can we put batteries in it?
someone must have done that, when they did like their yard sale, they must have gone rogue and gave me batteries.
I was bored this afternoon.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been 8:45 forever, so now, yeah. We don't have a battery budget.
Yeah.
I got to probably buy my own at the post office. Nice. Well, that'll be good. It's very confusing.
Throws you off.
It's so
Sometimes.
confusing.
Quarter nine?
Cause you always, even though it's like that every single month, we always look up and they're like, oh no, it's not working.
Batteries out when we leave.
Huh?
Take the batteries out when we leave.
No, no, no. Cause then they'll be.
It's just a DRB, it's in our budget.
Which we don't have. Oh, yeah, that's true. So now I'm gonna have to get you some batteries.
You do need a ladder budget though.
Oh.
A ladder
A
budget?
ladder budget.
We do have a
Yeah, we
ladder.
do.
You should have
Oh,
told me.
yeah.
It's in the,
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I remember now. I should have gotten that.
it's a good ladder too.
Yeah. I was teetering on that chair.
Oh my gosh.
People will come
We
in.
usually climb on the table, but that's probably worse.
That's
But
better, yeah. Much more solid.
I know that is high. Yeah, please don't.
So we're waiting for one more member.
I can.
Um,
Rachel,
Just Rachel's coming,
oh,
so then there'll be 4 DRB members to have a forum.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Rachel lives on the wrong side of town now, so it's. She may have gotten lost trying
Oh.
to get back to where she grew up.
I don't know if I want to be referred to as the wrong side of town. Want to play it that way.
That's what her Erlene always told me.
Wow, your stuff is working with an extended cord?
Mhm.
Nice. Usually the fees will flow, so congratulations.
I had to keep going back for things.
What did I-
Yep. Hello, you guys.
Oh, this doggy came first.
I'm sorry?
Your dog beat you over here, maybe.
No, she came with me.
Yeah, there's another dog.
Oh, okay, it was a different.
Yeah, she's not the real one.
A very similar dog was took outside.
Gotcha.
Start, as Rachel's getting settled. So I'm Willa Farrell and the chair of Alice and fairly new chair and not that much older member of the board, so bear with me as I proceed here. Maybe what we can do is just, I have formal rules of procedure that we follow, but before we do that, maybe we can just go down and do names and introduce ourselves. So again, I'm Willa Farrell.
I'm Rachel Seelig, member of the DRB.
Scott Mackridge, member of the DRB.
Jessica Luisos, I'm the engineer on the gully project.
I'm Corey Bradley, the town administrator for Callis, and this would be applicants.
I'm Candy Smith, I'm from Callis, Vice Chair. Oh, and I'm Ann Toolin, I live across the street and represent her, so I think maybe.
I'm Brian Boyd, staff at the Central Vermont Regional Planning Commission.
It's just Beaver Rock that I live on one of the budding homeowners. In mow the grass down along where most of this well, that side is happening.
Nice.
Thank you. So I'm gonna read my script here. So we are going to, this evening, the DRB will review an application submitted by the town of Callis for adding gravel fill to the Grist Mill Road in East Callis here for the purpose of driving heavy equipment on that road as part of an erosion control proposal. And a copy of the application and additional information is at the town office. To start with, we begin our meetings by asking any disclosure of any conflicts of interest or ex parte communications. So of the DRB members here, any conflicts of interest or any ex parte communication? If necessary, I can review the definition of interested persons as defined in statute. Then we will, I guess really what we should have outline the process first. So I jumped ahead. So what I'm gonna do, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do the definition of interested persons, then we'll swear people in. Then we'll ask, and I'll name the regulations that we plan to use this evening. Then we'll ask the applicant to provide any additional written information. Then present the application and proposal, then the board will ask questions of the applicant. And then other people from the public may ask questions or present information. We'll do a final opportunity for questions and comments. And then we'll either adjourn the hearing to another time certain, or close the proceedings, close the public hearing. And then we'll go into a deliberative session. So we did no conflicts of interest. So I can review the definition of interested persons if people would like me to do that, if people feel that is important.
Well, those would be the people that can ask questions, so I think it's important.
I think we have some temporary interest persons. So I think it makes sense to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So an interested person is defined as a person owning title to property or a municipality or solid waste management district affected by a bylaw who alleges the bylaw imposes on the property unreasonable or inappropriate restrictions of present or potential use under the particular circumstances of the case. Another one is the municipality itself that has a claim or a bylaw issue in an appeal brought under this chapter or any municipality that adjoins that municipality. A person owning or occupying property in the immediate neighborhood of a property that is subject of a decision taken under this chapter, or who can demonstrate a physical or environmental impact on the person's interest under the criteria reviewed, and who alleges that the decision or act, if confirmed, will not be in accord with the policies, purposes, or terms of the plan or bylaw of that municipality. You have to really, all those syllables in reading this now. Also, any 10 persons who may be a combination of voters or real property owners within a municipality, who by signed petition, allege that any relief, if requested, will not be in accord with the policies, etc. of the bylaw. In that case, they have to designate one person. By law, only an interested person who has participated in this proceeding may appeal any decision issued in this proceeding. But we should note that the DRB doesn't make any determination as to interested party status. So this evening, whether you're an interested party or not, we welcome people to speak. So at this time, does anybody here believe they meet the definition of interested person? And if so.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
And I
so,
think John, who's on by Zoom,
okay.
Oh, there
did
you
you hear all that, John?
Very good.
Uses his wife's account.
Okay. So we should probably report, three interested parties, interested persons. Parties, I would say. Okay, so now we will move on to, taking oath. So anybody who will be, testifying this evening, including the applicant, we would ask you to, raise your right hand and take the following oath. And if you decide later, you can swear you in later. So please repeat after me. I hereby swear that the evidence I give
I hereby swear that the evidence I give
in the cause under consideration
In
the cause
under consideration.
shall be the whole truth
shall be the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth
and nothing but the truth.
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Sounds like church.
So, before we hear the presentation of the application, I'm going to just name the zoning regulations that I think we will be using. It may well be that during the meeting hearing that other regulations will be identified, but at this point, they are table 2.7, which is the flood hazard and river corridor overlay district. Article 4, in Article 4, it's section 4.4, extraction and quarrying. And then Article 5 is the development review, conditional use and design review article that we use in general. And as I say, there may be other applicable regulations within those sections, or that we as a board determine in our review. Although I might just stop at this point, to see if anybody wants to name any particular regulation that they feel I may have missed. So moving on, at this point, Kari, as the applicant, do you or Jessica want to present any additional written information? Other than what we received already?
No, I don't think so. I guess I would just say that the town select board and staff are pretty excited about these projects.
Yeah.
I understand that this has been identified as a problem for quite some time, so we're really grateful to be partnering with the Regional Planning Commission and Jessica and her firm. And, we're very supportive and ready to go.
So we have, we've all read the application and looked at the materials submitted, but I think it would be helpful if you, or maybe whoever wants to present, actually give us a presentation of the application, knowing that we've read the materials but are not necessarily well versed in hydrology and things.
Sure. Well, I guess, so only a small portion of the project is under review, correct?
Yep.
But
Yes.
you generally want to know the whole thing, even though you're not reviewing most of the project elements. Is that
I think it would
what
be
you're
helpful to
asking?
have a brief overview of the
Yeah,
project
just
and then
some
dive into the elements that we're actually reviewing.
And Brian, do you want to say something as an overview first?
I mean, I can say really
Yeah.
quickly that these projects were identified as part of a townwide stormwater master planning effort. I don't remember the date on that, but it's been some time. It predates my time at CDRPC. And that CDRPC has been involved in one way or another from pretty early in the project, as has Jessica's engineering team as well. And that we have money from the Department of Environmental Conservation that is being used to fund this project.
Okay, so I guess maybe I'll hold this up. Is that helpful? So, let me just think about the sheet. Let's start with that.
I can hold if you want.
Yeah, I can actually hold. So essentially, we are in this building right here. Across the street and behind the home across the street, there's kind of a large gully, which is another word for just a deep erosion area. Water kind of funnels off the whole upper hill, kind of behind and around this building, kind of down Batten Road and through some culverts, kind of right out in the intersection, and then another one kind of above Fellows Road. And all that water gets stuck down in kind of an eroding ditch. It might have been quite small to begin with, but it's significantly higher than our heads at this point. And in the maybe 3 years or 4 years that I've been working on the project, I've seen it move quite a bit. And it's been identified as a big water quality issue because all of that sediment is just moving down into our waterways. So what we've done is identified a couple different things. So it's kind of a multi-prong approach. One piece, which is kind of being considered as a separate project, is to do some stormwater treatment in the parking lot outside of this this building. So under the ground, there would be some kind of empty chambers, empty space that the water can get into. And you have amazing soils here. It's very rare for us to find such good infiltration rates. You know, a lot of times we have stormwater that gets into a spot where the water can't get down into the dirt. But here we did test pits. The town did those for us, and there's great soils under there. So
We're very proud of that story.
so that's one piece of it, and that will be almost entirely underground. There'll be a few kind of manhole covers that you'll be able to see, but it's below the surface. So that's one part that'll be kind of hidden to the eye, but we're pretty excited about it. The other part is in the plan set that you have received. And this is over at the base of Fellows Road, so really quite close to this building. We have so we have Moscow Road here, and Fellows Road comes around the top. And essentially right where those two roads come together, there was a lot of like knotweed, kind of bushy material. So I know that did get cut back, but the idea is to kind of dig that down, expose the existing culvert that's there, and that culvert's in pretty rough shape. So part of the project will be to replace that culvert, and put in like I mean, we're calling it like a dry well. Essentially, it's a, kind of like a big catch basin that has a catch basin, like a concrete catch basin that has, holes at the bottom. So the water will be able to get in there and a lot of it will be able to get into the ground. And what doesn't will go through the new culvert down. It is very steep, kind of down off the road there. So at the bottom, there'll be some stone, not only to kind of slow down the water coming out of that culvert, but also the culvert that comes off the intersection as well. And, you know, kind of just to let that water slow down and kind of spread out down there. So that's the one part. The other part is actually actively treating the gully erosion itself. So this would require somebody to walk down kind of behind the buildings across from here along the river. There is a existing kind of mowed path, which is owned by the town as like a kind of historic roadway alignment to get back there. So that's maybe how some people have seen it by kind of walking that path. So down there, right now, it's just this kind of raw dirt, kind of deep chasm. And what we are proposing is that when you get to the end of that trail, right now the trail kind of like falls off into the erosion. But we would kind of reconnect the trail across. This is our symbol for riprap, like big stone, because it is very steep. So we would bring in some stone to kind of transition from, you know, the normal dirt forest area down that eroded slope. And then do some grading and put in some logs and some trees. So new living trees as well as like dead logs down in this area to really just slow down the water and catch some of the sediment. And we've used this in other locations to, you know, really keep the erosion from just continuing to get deeper and deeper. So that is the plan. So directly addressing the erosion as well as kind of slowing down the water getting there and, you know, getting more water into the ground. So less is getting there overall. So it's slower and it's less. And when it gets there, can't cause as much damage. So most of this project is what we believe to be just an allowed use and wouldn't necessarily need to come before you. But a portion of the path to get down there to do the work, kind of back to the gully, is within the, you're calling it the flood, the river corridor overlay district. So that's essentially an area surrounding the river, where, you know, I guess what I consider to be the reason for the river corridor overlay is that we don't want to have more and more stuff like our homes and businesses and roads in that area where the river might move around and cause erosion and damage those new structures. So I completely applaud your town for having this. This is something that is going to be coming at a state level in a few years, but your town actually took the step to do this, and it came into effect after we kind of did the project. So what we are proposing to do is just kind of improve the surface of the existing road in a few spots so that, you know, the equipment can just get back down there. So we're not proposing any kind of new thing that would be damaged or require additional kind of riprap or something to protect it in the future. So I think in general, at least at the state level, that's what they're trying to prevent, like a new thing that would require additional levels of channel management or stream management. So in this case, you can actually see it on this plan down here. This kind of pebbly symbol is kind of the steeper part of that access road. As you come around the bend and are starting to kind of approach down where the gully work would be. And it's just pretty steep there. There's some exposed dirt now. There's a little bit of erosion on it. So we just felt like if we're gonna be driving any kind of equipment or trucks, it should just be kind of a better surface. So adding gravel, and then I have another view which shows the whole path to get there. Let's get it back. So this is the whole project overview. So this is up at Fellows Road. This is the stonework, kind of where the culverts outlet. This is nice forested area, but the trees are pretty far apart, so we don't see any need to actually remove any trees, but you know, an excavator would come back in here to be able to do some of this work. The gully work itself. And then this is the spot where we want to put the stone. And then the one other spot along the access road, I guess I should point out, this is your bridge. Right down next to the dam. And this is where the path comes in case you kind of weren't picturing that. So most of the path is wide and flat and nice, and, you know, there's plenty of room for, you know, something to drive along. Back right before the corner, there's a kind of beautiful historic stone wall on the uphill side. And the path gets a little narrow in this one spot. So this is one spot where we just felt like kind of reinforcing the edge of the path. We show some concrete blocks here. It could just be gravel. But just a very, I mean, we're talking about maybe 3 feet or 4 feet of maybe a grade change of 1 or 2 feet. So just a very small amount. So that we wouldn't have to disturb that historic looking stone wall on the inside. This location is really quite high above the riverbed itself. The location on the channel is extremely stable. This isn't, so part of the reason for having the river corridor overlay in the first place is to kind of create enough space for the river to be able to move around. And it's most important in an area or a type of channel where the channel itself is prone to moving. You know, I'm sure you've seen like kind of curvier streams with dirt banks where you see some erosion and it kind of moving around in bars. Your stream here along the Kingsbury is, it is one of the most stable channel types that we see. It's kind of a bedrock cascade. So all the energy in this type of channel is really going kind of down. It's got a path, it's down, it's dissipating its energy as it kind of bumps down over those rocks. So in this spot, you know, 30 feet above the riverbank, we're just not seeing this as being like a real encroachment into anything. Like it's along the existing path and a type of channel you're not really expecting to move around a lot anyway. I guess that's my river hat there. So I think that's the overview. You know, so what we were seeing in the regulations is that the most of the project was an allowed use, but the kind of resurfacing and kind of improvements to the road to get back there kind of is within the edge of the river corridor overlay. So I think that's kind of the big item up for discussion tonight.
I wonder if we should first see if there's anyone have like clarifying questions just around the project in general. Anybody want to ask questions? And yes.
Right in?
Sorry.
I just have a question about the restoration of the grassy area. You know, I tend to mow that, and I just know trucks are gonna make a mess of it. And, you know, it says in here it's gonna be restored, but who's gonna determine at what level it's restored to? And
Yeah, so that is a really good question. So that would be me, like one of us. So that's part of what I've been hired to do is not only to kind of do the design and now the permitting, but kind of during the construction project, I and others engineers on our team would be out to like make sure things are going well. And then at the end, it wouldn't only be me, it would also be someone from the town, like Kari, to go out and really walk around with the contractor and make sure it's all been restored properly. So at this point, we would be telling them to put it back as it is, so reseed with lawn, with, in spots that maybe the lawn got disturbed, make sure it's smoothed out if it got rutted up. Be a straw mulch, and, that would be kind of our requirement from the contractor.
Yeah, I think that's mainly my question about how it can be put back together at the end. 'Cause no matter what you do, things get damaged.
Yeah.
Members of the DRB, do you have questions about the application in general before we get into the specific regulations?
So the stuff that you're adding is not just for doing the project, it stays there once the project is done, right? Yeah.
Yes, and that would be because there is a project, there could be some maintenance
Yeah.
that might need to
Yeah.
happen over time. So we want to make sure that someone will be able to get back down there in the future.
You said there was going to be gravel and logs or you said rocks, I think, rocks and logs and trees. Are we talking huge rocks like boulders, or are we talking gravel?
Big rocks.
Big rocks, okay, I just wanted to be sure.
In the gully.
Yeah.
On the road, small gravel.
Yeah.
Small.
That's good, I hate to see big rocks in the road. Okay,
The big rocks are what you see often on the side of a road.
Well, and like what we have right now at Curtis Pond Dam,
Yeah.
it's the riprap. Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to see if I have a better picture of what
I'm just trying to envision the flooding that's happened, the repairs being done, and the big rocks and where they end up.
Jessica, the gist of what I heard you say is that the work is to ensure that you can get to the places you need to get to do erosion control work. And that the addition of the gravel to basically to the road so the equipment can travel is what we are considering, and that the other piece you touched on is this stone wall, and that is that stone wall in the area right where you're adding gravel?
No.
It's a separate,
It's a separate,
Separate
so there's the gravel on the steeper part.
Yeah.
And further up towards here is, just on the curve, that's where there's the stone wall, and we wanna put. And on our plan, we show just a few concrete blocks, but it could be a different material, like riprap or something, if someone would prefer a different type of material.
and then just for my own understanding, in general, this, the location of what you showed us on the map is quite far above the stream bed itself, and although it's in the river corridor, your professional opinion is that that channel, the nature of the channel here is pretty stable compared to a lot of other streams, and so no promises, but like the likelihood of the river channel moving to a large degree is, you don't see that as that likely compared to, say, some other type of
Right.
less stable channel. Okay. I have to repeat as how I digest it. Well, maybe at this point we would dive into our regulations then.
Yeah.
Jessica, you said that you felt that if this was a permitted use in most ways. Was that based on reading of our regulations? And can you tell me roughly where you found that this was a permitted use? I mean, is it, like, I'm looking at section 3.15, erosion and sediment control and stormwater. And it's clearly exemptions, 3 exemptions: constructions authorized by a state construction stormwater permit is exempt from these standards. development authorized by a state operational stormwater permit is exempt. Is that what you were thinking about?
Yeah, no, we had corresponded with John as well, who so he also considered portions of what we were doing to be maintenance of kind of existing features.
Mhm.
So, you know, because we're kind of stopping erosion that's happening, kind of falls into a maintenance category rather than building kind of a new thing. We're not building a new thing back at the gully. We're stopping.
You're not changing
erosion.
direction, you're not doing any.
I think the letter that John sent us, he said,
You got it, you mean it.
and bigger font even. So John, the zoning administrator, said that he did not find language in the regulations which exempt the town, so we are here for that, but he said, based on table 2.7, a conditional use review and approval is needed for fill or grading with mitigation resulting in no net loss of flood storage. So that's what we'll get into. But though, so John is the zoning administrator, has identified what he thought were the components that brought it to the point where the DRB needs to look at it.
Yeah.
So,
I guess I can address that specific point, which I didn't say out loud. So no portion of the project is within the flood hazard overlay district, so it is not, there's no fill or grading in the floodplain, which means then there's also no change of flood storage.
so what we have done in the most recent hearings that I facilitated as a newbie, I keep saying that to prepare people. So we've actually just gone through the regulations and asked questions as a way to assure that we're getting the information we need. And you may have already said some of this, so I'm just gonna look at table 2.7 and then
You're gonna do what I did last time.
sure we could have, yeah, they sure can ask.
So have you reviewed our flood hazard and river corridor overlay rule?
I did
Yeah.
before I
Before
submitted
you
the
submitted,
application.
yeah,
I
we
didn't
did
do it
that.
today.
That's
so-
okay. So I'm just gonna kind of run through the purpose section with you and ask you about how this project meets the purpose, and then we'll go to the conditional use section, because that's where we're pretty sure we are. So the first purpose of these corridor overlays is to prevent and minimize the loss of life and property, the disruption of commerce, the reduction of the tax base, and the considerable public expenditures and demands on public services that result from flooding and fluvial erosion. Can you tell us how this project would impact that purpose?
I believe there would be no impact to flooding, as the entire project is outside of the floodplain. Not just the mapped floodplain, but the observed floodplain.
Okay.
Like, we've actually walked the river and it's, we don't believe it's mismatched. So like sometimes you might have a project and you're trying to do it and it really isn't the floodplain, but you didn't know it. It's not in floodplain. And with the river corridor, just based on observations of, the type of channel, the height above the channel, the existence of the road already, and, you know, minor, if any, additional kind of, we're not expanding the footprint of the existing infrastructure, and we're not increasing the future level of need to protect infrastructure.
Okay. All right, our second purpose for this section is to allow for the wise use of lands in the FHO and the RCO areas to minimize potential damage to existing structures and development from flood-related inundation and erosion. You talk about how this project would relate to that purpose.
Sure, I don't, so. The gully work itself is really to reduce, I mean, the whole project is really, that is the goal of the project, to reduce potential. Current and future erosion damage from water running over, this currently eroding surface.
Okay, third, our purpose is to manage land use in these areas, to provide rivers and streams with lateral space necessary to maintain or reestablish floodplain access and minimize fluvial erosion hazards through natural and physical processes. I feel like you've kind of already addressed this, but if you could just.
Yeah,
summarize
so,
that.
yeah, this is so my other hat is geomorphologist. So I actually do, most of my work actually is in rivers specifically. And then I also work on stormwater and kind of this interface between kind of erosion and gully and stormwater has been kind of a natural extension of kind of the river work and, engineering work that I've done. So, I guess as my, my geomorphologist hat, like, I really feel like this project is not impacting, the river moving. It's not gonna constrain the river more than it is. And it's not putting any kind of infrastructure in more harm's way from erosion. And, I wouldn't say that about all channels. That's what I meant. Like, there's a lot of channels here in your town and across the state where, I wouldn't want to move something even 1 foot closer. Like, it's, I'd be advocating for coming in the other side or something.
Got 2 more purposes to go through. So number 4 is ensure that the selection, design, and construction of development in these areas are accomplished in a manner that minimizes or eliminates the potential for flood or fluvial erosion and loss or damage to life and property. Can you address that purpose?
Yeah, so we're not putting any new development in the zones.
And then finally, the 5th purpose is to manage land use in these areas in accordance with state and federal regulations to ensure eligibility for and maximize availability of federal flood insurance, federal disaster fund, non-emergency relief and assistance funds, and other regulations. Please talk about how this project might impact that purpose.
Yeah, so again, we're not putting any infrastructure
Yeah.
into further harm's way that would require the use of those funds, and I think by, we're really making the area more resilient to flooding by addressing the gully.
Thank you.
They're good purposes.
They're good purposes. Okay, so one of the areas where you need conditional use approval by the DRB is for, fill or grading with mitigation resulting in no net loss of flood storage. I think you addressed this already, but can you just, now that we're actually looking at this part of the regulation?
Yeah, so, the whole project is outside of the floodplain as mapped out. So there's no change in storage.
That's just for people following on D, so in table 2.7, D6. And then F is the river corridor overlay, but I don't think there's anything pertinent relevant in this proposal.
Is this considered to be improvement or construction of a private road or driveway?
No, it's town.
No, great, then yeah, I can do it.
So that was 2.7. Then there's our Article 4, Section 4.4, extraction and quarrying.
Okay. Page. on page 59, if that is matters to you. So,
We can have a hard copy of them.
I mean, I think I can just answer if you have
Yeah,
questions
you did.
about it.
First.
It was one I didn't realize we were gonna be looking.
I mean,
So I
you,
didn't-
you might give us an opinion that it doesn't apply, and that's fine. So this section applies to the extraction, quarrying, or removal of topsoil, sand, gravel, rock, minerals, or other similar materials, or the commercial extraction of water and on-site storage and processing of materials. Is this project doing any of those things?
It is not,
Okay.
no.
So there's no removal, there's just.
There's rearranging.
Okay. Tell us a little bit more. about
Yeah,
that.
so I can actually, so let's see, this sheet probably is the easiest way to show it, so. Back next to you. Okay, so this is in cross section, so as you're kind of looking down the gully, this dashed line is the gully. We talked about putting logs in the bottom. The one side is like extra steep and it's not on the trail side, so
Right.
it wouldn't be impacting the trail. So this triangle here is kind of existing soil, dirt, land that's out there. That we're gonna be kind of having them slope it down, but not call it out. It's gonna be kind of put like in the kind of hole of the gully under the rock. So it's gonna be kind of just rearranged so that the sides of the gully are less steep.
You're talking about that major washout down there. You know,
I believe
at
so.
the very, very bottom,
Near the
where
rustic
it's like
car.
massive washed out.
I believe we're talking about the same.
I think we are, yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching this, that's Megan, that's my wife, and we were,
Yeah,
we tried to ask a question, but we were watching it online. But I was just wondering, what do you do with that major washout down there? And I think you're addressing it right now, is
Yeah.
that correct?
yes, that is what we're addressing. So this is in cross section, so kind of making it less steep, at least on the one side, putting logs in the bottom. And then this is in profile, so this hole is actually bigger now. My little line doesn't go down deep enough, but we're gonna put stone kind of over the first part of it.
Right, so
where
you're
it's-
gonna, it's washed out like a big V.
Yeah, so it's gonna be, we're gonna take some of the soil from the sides where it's extra steep and push that into the middle to make it like less steep.
Oh, cool, so
And then
you're,
put stone
you're
over it.
addressing, I got you, so you're gonna kind of wrap it with riprap
Yeah,
so that there'll be a way for the water to get down to,
yeah, so that's, this symbol here means stone. And
gotcha.
then below that, we're just gonna put some logs in. We're gonna cut a couple of the trees that are kind of hanging in
And
already.
you think that organic matter isn't gonna fail?
Well, this doesn't, there's no reason for this to fail, because the water would already be down there.
So those are water bars,
These are just some logs in the bottom,
okay,
but all the erosion is really happening on the slope.
yeah,
As the water gets down.
Yeah.
So we're gonna make it less steep, put rock on it. And then just so it's not just like a dirt bottom, we're gonna put some logs in, just to like,
yeah, cause it's major, I mean,
It is,
it's like
yeah.
major washed out.
it is.
And it's all sand,
I think since we first looked at it like.
Right,
years
yeah, yeah.
ago,
cool,
That's the
yeah,
plan.
no, that answers the big question, cause I didn't know if you were gonna address. You know, where that old car, there's that old car that's down there and
Mhm.
you kind of move that out of the way and then you line it with rock.
The car's gonna stay. We're not touching the stump, the
Yeah.
car. And from the car,
removal.
from the car,
It's kind of a cool car, I mean, it's like, it's been there forever.
so from the car up maybe like 50 feet, it's nice and flat down there already, like the gully already
Yeah.
run down as far as it looks like it's
Yeah.
gonna go, so that's where you're gonna just put logs. And then the upper, like, what is this?
So there's that
Another
whole,
50 feet is gonna be all stone.
very good, yeah, awesome. Well done.
So I think the upshot of that is section.
I believe 4.4 does not apply.
Does not apply.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So Then there's the general article, 5, which is the development review. So. We received the application, we have a general map showing. The location. We received a plan drawn to scale with the features outlined as named here. And we received all the materials that we need. So then 5.3,
Do the required standards.
yeah, I think I need to jump, so that's 5.3 subsection D.
So this is the section where there are required standards for us to consider in deciding whether something should be approved for conditional use. The first is the capacity of existing or planned community facilities and services. Does this project have any impact, and either of you can answer this, on existing planned community facilities or services? No, okay. The second criteria is the character of the neighborhood or area affected. How would this impact the character of the neighborhood here? Where that would be affected?
I think it should improve it.
Yeah,
so
make
there'll
that
be less
more
erosion.
accessible.
Sure.
And-
Okay.
So there's that road that was washed out. There used to be a ski mobile trail.
John, if you're going, do you want to testify? We're asking people to be sworn in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. it's
We
form-
just want to
I
hear
got it.
first. No, it's okay.
I think maybe he did it. We just
Did
couldn't
you-
hear him.
Could we?
Did
not-
you do
Did you
it?
do the oath?
I did, but but I can do it in front of you again.
It's fine.
Thanks. We just want to make sure we have that in the
Dot-
record.
Dot my i's.
Yes.
Perfect.
So,
The snowmobile trail, we would just kind of reconnect across the rock.
Right.
So, you know, the
So
dirt
you're
road
gonna make that road like it was, it will be connected?
I'm not gonna say it's gonna be how it was, cause it was
Yes.
eroded before I saw it.
Yes,
But it will connect across.
gotcha. So you can actually, because you're gonna rebuild that, the road across from the mill, that's the, wasn't given up. That historic road. The one that's on the other piece of property right here was given up. Is that correct?
I don't.
I
I
don't
don't know if that one was given up, Seaver.
I think it was, right?
Yes.
Would it be easier, because I own that property, would it be easier to get down there from there, or am I opening up a can of worms?
Can of worm.
Okay,
Big can of
end
worm.
of story.
Yeah, I think that.
But I guess just to clarify, it's not gonna be a continuation of a big wide road across the erosion area. There's gonna be a connection where a person could walk across or, you know, maybe a cross-country skier can get across, but it's gonna be like a sharp turn, because we're not filling the whole gully back in, so it's.
But you're gonna
You know,
support it, you're gonna
Yeah,
support the
there's gonna be-
sides.
There's gonna be stone there where the connection will be.
Awesome,
3 more required standards for us to consider. The third one is traffic on roads and highways in the vicinity. How would this project impact that? All right,
I can't think of any.
no impact, so that's your feedback. All right, are there any bylaws or ordinances in effect that we need to consider regarding this area?
No.
And what impact, if any, will this project have on the utilization of renewable energy resources by nearby landowners?
I'm not aware of any.
if you use the falls for energy. But no one's gonna do that. Maybe I will, but. That's a whole nother,
It's a whole other.
Well, it wouldn't
project.
affect the fall, using the falls.
Right,
you know,
right,
in
right,
fact-
right.
In fact, it could maybe improve the access, because we're doing a little bit of access.
yeah,
improvements.
right.
Great. Okay. And so that concludes our required standards. There are a couple of discretionary standards. Is this project anticipated to have any impact on health? I think you put in the application that it would not add any fumes, gas, dust, smoke, odor, noise.
Right.
So you don't anticipate any impact?
No.
How about access and circulation? This is about ensuring the safety of either vehicle or pedestrian traffic on and off site.
It will improve the pedestrian access.
And how about any landscaping or screening? Is that anticipated as part of this project at all?
We're not building a thing to screen.
Building a thing to screen. And Seaver, you asked earlier about repairing what would be damaged.
What would be damaged?
What, the area that you usually mow?
Well, just the whole road bed, I mean, from Rockdale Woods Road down to the
Yeah.
bottom, your truck traffic on draft.
Yeah.
Not conducive, so there's gonna be damage at some point.
But the plan would be to reseed that to put it back, okay?
And there is an American chestnut down there that shouldn't be cut.
Will you be cutting?
There's a few trees that are gonna be cut. They're all right in the vicinity of the gully erosion themselves. So we identified them as ones that that are either partially fallen in or going to fall in. They've all been marked for years, so. I don't know if there's flagging around it.
I should probably flag that tree.
Yeah, maybe you should.
Don't-
No, don't.
Flag trees that they.
Flag trees still.
Oh.
The flagged
What if they-
trees are
And
the
I
ones
want her
we're
to
gonna
just
cut.
go see that tree with you.
You
Yeah,
should see that
I'll
tree, because
go
it's a
see-
very, very rare tree.
I'll
Yeah.
come see the tree with you before any cutting.
Yeah, very important.
Okay, and the last two discretionary factors are about buffers and open space, but I think we've already testified that there's nothing being added. And stormwater and erosion control that might be required, and my understanding is this is a stormwater and erosion control project, so we don't need to add any management.
We're also getting a state permit.
You are getting a
Covers that.
stormwater permit.
The construction stormwater. permit.
Construction stormwater. And where is that in the process?
The application's in and under review.
Do you have any sense of timing, how long it takes to get those? And-
Like,
Yes.
the next month, a couple weeks.
Yes. What's the timing of the project? Once you get all the permits and such.
Originally, it was 2023.
Whoops.
We're still pretty close, right? So I think, given where we are in the calendar year, it's getting less likely that it will be implemented this year. I wouldn't say no. We will go through assuming the permit is granted, we'll go through the process to solicit construction bids. We'll review those bids, we'll select a contractor. If there's work that they can engage this year that might not be the subject of review tonight, they might work on some other parts. It really depends on what the selected contractor would recommend. But I would not be surprised at this point to see construction happen into next year.
Any other questions or information you want to share, or questions from anybody here?
I guess I have a question related to what Brian just brought up. What do you think your timeline is for review? Do you deliberate and then have another meeting where you can make a decision? Or are they?
We tend to deliberate immediately after hearing, and then we have 45 days, which we try, if you know very well. We try to do that more quickly, but we are all volunteers and takes a while to write things up. But yeah, definitely. I can just do a little straw poll with the group. Are you feeling like? And does anybody here on the DRB feel we need to continue this public hearing to a later date, or do you feel you have what we need?
At this
I don't
point,
hear everything I
no,
need.
I don't know if we'll hear anything from any of the folks here that would
Yeah.
change that, but yeah.
I think we can go into deliberation, yeah.
So unless we hear anything more, then we're. I'll start writing. So so it really is like, does anybody else here have any questions or comments that they want to put to the applicant or to share?
I just think that I'd like to reiterate what Steve was saying, that is grass area. And if that road is gonna be used for maintenance, you bring a big truck down there, it's just once, it's gonna be,
Certainly for this project, if it gets repaired, it'll be fine, but this other project would be another.
but isn't that road gonna be used for maintenance for the town to maintain it? My understanding is that it's gonna be paid by the federal government or the state, but then the town has to take on responsibility to maintain the,
I think the maintenance, John, is it all right if I?
Yeah.
I think the maintenance that the town is looking at is maintaining the culverts and things that are coming down to this filtration system.
gotcha.
So that it's reaching the filtration system, because it's gonna be moved if it's just dumping all this silt in the driveway here.
And then you have that,
Right
right?
now, but, and I think that the hope is that the riprap and the things that they're doing down there are just going to be maintaining that. It's gonna be set up in a way that it's just meant to slow down the water, catch sediment. And that it's not gonna be something that should require trucks and things rolling down every single year and destroying the cedar pond, but I don't wanna do that.
Well, it's not really my law. it's just
Well, I
take
know,
care
you
of-
take care of it.
That's right.
It's like, yeah, so I think that is, my understanding is that the maintenance ongoing is up top.
Up top,
Making sure the fellows culvert is cleared out, making sure, you know, that the stuff can get in the culvert here and that the thing's sucked out in the driveway and.
so a big tree falls down in the culvert, and you gotta take out the tree, just go down there and do it by hand.
I have a tractor.
There we go.
Or you could just leave it there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it may even help with the erosion.
Right, right.
I mean, the thing about these projects, at least in my experience with them, you know, Jessica and someone from the town will go through post-construction, make sure that the site is back to the condition it was pre-construction. And by the site, I'm talking about the road specifically. And then after that, the town will take on these operations and maintenance work. And so,
Right,
you know,
right.
it'd be up to the guys in the town garage, or if you contract out, to make sure that they're paying attention to when they take a vehicle down there, if that level of maintenance is required.
And let me just understand that road will get some kind of work so that the vehicles can get down there to do their magic and put their riffraff down there, because they're gonna have to put something down there, because that road is not suitable for anything right
Small
now.
sections when she first started, just small areas, just to make it adequate to get things on there.
I got you, very good.
the
Yep.
steep part. And there's one narrow.
Cool.
So Jessica, not to belabor the point, but after this project, would you anticipate that there would be much reason for a truck to go down that grass path in the future?
Really rarely. So we do have, like an operation and maintenance plan for each of the specific areas. It has been, kind of signed by the town who will be taking that on. So for the gully area, we do say to, you know, go down and check annually, and some towns don't actually do that, they just assume it's fine. But check it annually. If any of the outlets are clogged, because this would be access to get down to the end of the culverts too. So go down, look at the end of the culverts. In the case that one of the culverts is clogged up, then there might be a need to take some kind of equipment down, or maybe even just pry bars or shovels or something, just to like unclog. We say to check the gully area in case there's maybe some more erosion, maybe some of the rocks moved. And then we say, if stones have displaced and erosion is present, rearrange stone to cover erosion. If existing stones will not adequately cover erosion, bring additional stone to prevent ongoing erosion. So, and replant with seed if disturbed by repairs. So, but like, the maintenance specifically does say, if you are gonna go back in there, you need to replant and reseed any areas you disturbed, so. We don't picture like a time when you're gonna have big trucks going back in. You know, we're planning to get enough stone in there to begin with, to, you know, there'll be enough back there.
And you said that that's an operations and maintenance plan that the town has signed.
Signed it Monday night, and the landowners also have to sign.
So if there's any damage, if we do have to go down, we are replacing rocks if they've moved, or is that, like, our town people are doing that?
Yeah, unless we contract out, we wouldn't contract out that part, but there's other elements of the maintenance plans we might.
And then we would just put the logs back to seeding them or whatever needs to be done.
Final call for questions, comments. So I think then at this point, if somebody wants to make a motion to
I'll make the
adjourn,
motion to adjourn.
so all those in favor?
I,
So we'll adjourn, and then I think, if someone.
Motion to deliver in second.
Yeah. I do.
Okay. So thank you all
Yeah,
for coming.
thank you.
We're gonna deliberate
Yeah,
your thing.
Let us know if you have questions.
I can't find my spare set of keys, so I'll just keep an eye out and lock up.
The planning commission need to add this to any of the sections.
Oh, no, I only have my work keys right now. I can't find my other set of
In what way,
keys.
the maintenance?
Oh, not on the front. You can lock me.
I'll mention it to Jared.
Figure that later.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
no
might,
problem.
it might be in there.
Be your commitment.
Commitments.
Services.
Yeah, yeah.
Good, thank
I think good idea. Yeah.
We are trying to shorten that.
We just for- we would put 300 pages, like, longer.
Oh my God.
Really cool.
There's some ones that have like 50 pages.
Oh, there is.
Even beyond.
Oh, right.
Right,
right. But I think that as long as they.
No, they don't need any stuff. Oh. Oh, that's funny.
I was like,
Oh, what you're still-